All right. It may be a possibility that Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, may move on with Jason Garrett. Now, it was rumored that, yes, even though he may be during the offseason, may be removed from his head coaching position after 10 years tenure, he may be into a new position, promoted to a new position as maybe general manager or something like, I don't know, some type of assistant. But for the most part, they know they're going to move forward with him as being as the HC here for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you got to understand the good thing about Jason Garrett before I go into the bad stuff is that with this coach here, 10 years. He's been there for 10 years and he was coaching since the middle of the 2010 season. Okay, when I believe in Wade Phillips was fired. And in that particular time, Wade Phillips, it was he had a mediocre Cowboys team. I mean, they were really with Tony Romo, and he did okay. I mean, I don't think they really made it to the playoffs like that, or they didn't really put too much depth into their the depth chart. But since he came in, they started having a winning season after all, and they were very competitive in the NFC East, and this is what Jerry Jones won. I mean, he was the second winningest coach behind Tom Landry. Tom Landry was the first winning coach. I think he won like a couple Super Bowls with him. Then you had what's his name? Phil Jackson, not Phil Jackson. Oh my goodness, Bill Johnson, I believe. Yeah, he ended up winning different Super Bowls for that team in the 90s. But, just moving on forward, Jason Garrett doing this thing, but it was just a sad thing. Like, they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, had a wonderful opportunity to go ahead and get to the playoffs and just make something happen, man. Because once you get in there, hey, you got the 9-7 Giants. They made it happen. Beat the undefeated New England Patriots. So, I mean, they could have really got in with a 9-7 record, man. But hey, it is what it is, man. They lost to the Philadelphia Eagles a couple weeks back, and that really raised a lot of just questioning on how Jason Garrett is losing a lot of respect for the teammates. I mean, it was things going on Twitter that people were screaming when they lost. I mean, everyone shaking his hand, even though he tried to be very optimistic every single play. But I mean, he was utilizing Ezekiel Elliott. A lot of different changes was going on. I remember they had Kevin Autry. We had Miles Austin at the time. Man, I mean, they had Jason Witten. He came back. Cole Beasley. Even had Cole Beasley making a name for himself with the Buffalo Bills against them. That was a very embarrassing loss, man. And Thanksgiving, they lost a lot of pivotal games, man. Very vital games that the Dallas Cowboys fans are really being frustrated. Because I'm like, listen, man, if it ain't for Rodman or Narrowly, if it ain't just Jerry Jones being stubborn, do something to stir the Dallas Cowboys in the right direction. And just feel like, Jason Garrett, they all buddies now, but for the most part, it's like, when are you going to actually turn this thing around? I mean, we're underproducing. I mean, they've been to the playoffs 3 times under Jason Garrett, I believe, maybe 5 times. I think it was 3 times. And they managed to beat some teams in the wild card, but never got over into the divisional round. They never run past that. I remember it was a one legendary game. Dallas Cowboys went against the Detroit Lions when Jim Caldwell was playing. I think it was the coach, and this was like 2012, 2013, 2014 season, and they won from the controversial call with Dez Bryant. But when they went to the played against Green Bay, they ended up losing that game. That was kind of crazy, and so people was like karma going everywhere. But I don't know, man. I just think that with him, and he's seen a lot. He's seen how Michael Vick used to win against them and beat them, man, when he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, a lot of these things that, we come to the fact that even though he had an 85-67 record, I mean, that is really impressive. I mean, that's better than Ron Rivera. That's better than a lot of coaches, man. And the thing is, he just wasn't able to get that ring. If he had the ability to get them to, even if they went to the playoffs and lost in the divisional round or in the wild card, I still can. It still may be a possibility that he may get fired, because it's just that if a coach who's been coaching the team in the NFL for like 10 years and not had nothing to show for it, not even no NFC conference championship appearances, no Super Bowl appearances. Yeah, I mean, after a while, man, that's a huge decade. You kind of want to start moving forward, looking elsewhere before you start blaming the players. I mean, because they went to different transitions. They got a new nice running back. They got nice wide receivers. The defense and the O-line is really good. Lakel Collins, offensive line, has been protecting Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, man, over the years. So that offensive line is extremely good. The talent has always been there. When I was in high school, I always been saying that the Cowboys are really good, but they always find a way to freaking lose. They just can't get over this hump. Have all this talent in the world, but they can't manage to just win it big when it matters. And it seems like they choke in the playoffs, or when it's time for like that last game of the season and it matters for them to actually have a seed in the playoffs, they lose. And it was a really it's just a really sad factor, because I remember Tony Romo, he used to play very hard, man. Jason Garett was coaching him and gave him an opportunity. And this is the thing about Jerry Jones, he do give people opportunities and everything, bro, before he can have a good explanation to get rid of the individual, because I guess a lot of investments and time he does into it. But for the most part, man, it's like, I remember he went against Tony Romo went against the Seattle Seahawks. I remember that, and they went the Central League Stadium and defeated them. I mean, I think that's one of the best years before he retired, though. But it's just like, during last interceptions, losing to the Redskins, losing to different teams that you're supposed to beat. It's not a good look. At the end of the day, man, yeah, the Cowboys fans don't want to keep reliving the glory days in the 90s, man. I mean, this is a new millennial, new generation of people who love the Cowboys, want to see their teams succeed. They even experienced those Super Bowls. They don't want to count them because they can't remember it. And some of them probably even born then. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like rich history, Emmitt Smith, all that stuff, man. But going to Garrett, man, at the end of the day, I think somebody's going to pick him up anyway. I mean, he could be the new Dolphins coach. He could be the new Cleveland Browns coach. They just fired Freddie Kitchens. So, I mean, this is really not the all-in-all over for Jason Garrett and his football career as far as coaching and leading people. But I think he was a decent mentor. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I just think they really want something new. Like, they replaced Tony Romo with Dakota Prescott. And Dakota Prescott has been, he's been performing. Sometimes he underperformed different seasons, but he's getting to his own. But it's a statement, man, but we're just going to see. We're going to move forward, and if it's Jason Garrett's time to go. But I believe that Jason Garrett should move to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you got Baker Mayfield. Odell Beckham Jr. might go to a different team. I don't think he's really feeling the huge, I guess you can say, his teammates in Cleveland. But, they got Nick Chubb. They got Jarvis Landry. They got some good players. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be all like very lucrative in the market. But this is all my 2 cents on that, man. The whole Jason Garrett thing. Cowboys fans probably going to be like, hey, I'm just glad he's going to be gone. He's leaving. He's out of here. Jerry Jones really don't want to be talking about this all over the media. But hey, it's America's favorite team. Skip Bayless going to be on here on the Undisputed. Hey, Jason Garrett needs to go. But I want to say he wasn't a terrible coach. As a worst coaches like Mike Singletary, horrible. Chip Kelly, horrible. I mean, but at least this guy here, I believe he did show some type of passion with the team, but he just wasn't, his just play calling and all these things, the way he lead the team wasn't as aggressive as what didn't fit as a winning championship type team. That's all it is, man. Because I'm just thinking that you've been for 10 years, not one Super Bowl appearance. It says a lot, man. But this all I really have to say, man. It's a business. That's just how the NFL works, man. But kudos to Jason Garrett, though, for actually, putting a lot of time in this team, man. I mean, I know I couldn't be a head coach. I mean, it's just so much you got to do, man. Just make sure everybody's right, And you got to understand, too, like, the Cowboys had a lot of disciplinary actions, too, man. And, you look at that, for instance, I think it was this one, I got to remember these players' names, but one wanted to smoke marijuana or whatever, and he decided to, just quit and not showing up to practice. I mean, it's just little stuff like that. Of course, Ezekiel Elliott, he wanted to get paid a little bit more. I know that's a general manager type of deal, situation. And, it was experience like a holdout. He didn't really play in the preseason like that and in some of the regular season games. But, man, I mean, all those constitute a factor. And the coaches are not playing out there, obviously. I mean, it's the players. You just got to motivate them, regulate them, and tell them what to do. And, how, just get them to the right direction, man. And I just think that the atmosphere was just a little off. But, man, it's a lot that you have to deal with and a lot on this plate. But, hey, 85-67, that's very impressive, man. Not too many coaches can do that. But he would be, though, going down in history as contributing to one of the Dallas Cowboys, I guess, intermediate success. But, man, at the end of the day, man, it's going to be really interesting who's going to take this place. We'll see. But it's your boy, Yunglinkjr. You guys can like, comment, subscribe. Donate to my channel. I'm doing the Cash App. It's going to be a link in the description box. It says Yunglinkjr. I'm out. Deuces.